Hey everyone, Cody from Mactelecom Networks. It's the beginning of a new month, and that means I'm going to look at some viewer submitted home labs. This will be the third part out of the series, and I'm going to try to do them once a month. For the home lab that I like the most, I'll be giving away a Unifi G4 Bullet camera. If you'd like your home lab featured in a future video, you could do submissions through Twitter, Discord, and Instagram, and all those links will be down below. All right, so this first viewer submission is by Alex Chato, and he has two pictures, one of the front and one of the back. We can see there's a small little rack, and we have two APC battery backups, and then some Dell EMC servers. I'm not too sure if at the front of the servers, if that's dust or not, but let me know. Above where we see this yellow wire connecting, this looks like one of the mesh access points, and then we have a USB Pro 4. And now this is the back of the rack. At the top, I believe this is the server, and then we have a 48 port Gen 1 switch. Below that, we have a USW aggregation switch, which I love. The aggregation switches feature 10 gigabit networking at a great price. And then below that, we have a bunch of wire management for our servers. So one thing I would probably change about this, I would add in a patch panel just to do cable management a little bit better. And I would cut off all these tie wraps and put some Velcro. And this next submission is by Armageddon on my Discord channel. We can see at the top, we have a Unifi access point, and this looks like it's about a 12U rack. Maybe it's an 8U. And he has a bunch of LEDs on the inside, which I really like that it lights up. At the top of the rack, we have a CyberPower surge protector, and then we have a 24 port patch panel. This looks like it's a 110 punch down patch panel. I don't use those myself, but it does look good in this instant. And then you can see they're using the Unifi patch cables, which they have the bendable boot, which I really love. We have a Gen 2 switch connecting with a DAC cable, and then we have a UDM Pro or an SE and a Synology 2-bay NAS at the bottom. I really do like the look of this rack. The only thing I would do is probably label my cables to where they're going. Great job. And this next submission is by Bacon Bits in my Discord channel. At the top, we have the UDM Pro and then a 16 port patch panel. Below that, we have the USW 16 PoE. I do like how all of the cable colors match and that they're using Velcro. On the bottom, we have the StarTech PDU, which I've used quite a bit. Seeing as the USW 16 PoE is only a 1 gigabit SFP uplink, they're using a copper SFP and just connecting a Cat5 or a Cat6 cable. This is a fairly standard home network build, so there's really not too much I would change. They've even labeled the ports, even though it was with the Sharpie and not a labeler. And this next build is really cool. It looks like it's custom made, and it's by Attain in my Discord server. At the top, we have this little patch panel, which only has 8 ports. And then we can see they have color-coded patch cables going into a USW 16 light switch. For their router and firewall, we have a USG 3. Below that, I have no idea what that is. And then we have a couple Raspberry Pis with our power outlets. This is very interesting to me, and I believe most of it is 3D printed. I'd love to do my own little home lab with a bunch of Raspberry Pis in a rack like this. Great job. Next up, we have Chris Harvey from my Instagram. You can see they're using a StarTech rack that's on casters. At the top, we have our network switch and then a Cat6 patch panel and a few blanks. I think this is for cable management, not 100% sure. Below that, we have a server, and then we have the other cable management, another server, and then a PS4. We have one more server at the bottom. So what would I change about this? Well, I would probably stack them a little bit differently. But one thing I do like, they're not all pancake stack on top of each other, so it gives it a bit of airflow for heating and cooling. I would also put on some Velcro on these, but that's just my preference to have them in one tight bundle. The next submission is by Jacob. We have another StarTech rack, which those seem to be very popular. We have the CyberPower UPS, and then we have a couple Ubiquiti patch panels. It does also look like they're using blanks, and everything is labeled. I also believe these are Ubiquiti patch cables with the bendable boots. We have a Gen 2 switch, and then we have our UDM Pro or UDM SE, as well as a Generation 1 switch, and then we have the USW aggregation switch. I don't exactly know how they're getting their internet or what's controlling all this, because the UDM Pro is currently powered off, and there's no cables going into it. Under the USW aggregation switch, we have a cable management, and then we have a couple servers. Now, what would I change about this? Well, there really isn't too much to change about this. This is a very clean build, and if I wanted somebody to install a network for me, this is exactly how I would want it to look. The next submission is from Carlson. At the top, we have a 16 port patch panel, and then we have a TP-Link Jetstream switch. There's not too much to this network. What I would change about this network, I would put in some rack screws, and I'd definitely do some Velcro and some cable management. Also, the screws on the bottom don't look like they're properly in. You want to have the washers on the inside, not the outside. Another thing, I would probably add a firewall to your network. Now, this install looks a little bit different. I don't typically see racks installed on tile. I'm not too sure if this is maybe in a bathroom setting, but usually you only see tile on bathroom walls. So let me know in the comments below. We can see we have a couple patch panels and a few switches, and we also, I believe this is a Cloud Key Gen 2 Plus, and then we have an edge router of some sort. We have a shelf filled with some devices, and we have a Synology, also a Legrand for our power. A couple things I would do to clean this up, I would put a hole in the wall with maybe a conduit going up into the ceiling instead of going down beside the wall. Also, you could do some Velcro along this and maybe at the back of the rack. This submission is by Shanira in my Discord. At the top, we have this little USW switch, and we also have a PoE switch by Netgear. Then we have the modem. We have a couple more Netgear switches. We have a USG3, and then we have our patch panel. We also have that StarTech PDU. A couple things I would change in this network. I would do a bit more cable management, maybe use some Velcro instead of these little twist ties that are being used here, and also label the patch panel. It may also be worth getting a rack mount for your USG3, which you can get custom 3D printed ones. You could possibly even mount your modem to the back of the wall to give you a bit more space. Next submission is by Rastaman from my Discord. We have a StarTech 25U rack, and I believe this is the same rack as I use. At the top, we have a 2U shelf, and you can see they neatly Velcroed their cable down into the rack. We also have a TrendNet 24-port patch panel, and it looks like they're using the Monoprice slim 6-inch patch cables, which I love. The switch at the top is the Enterprise 24 PoE, which I also have in my rack, and I love how the LED lights illuminate through the boot of those Monoprice patch cables. There's some DAC cables connecting into the USW aggregation switch, and then we have a UDM Pro or an SE, and we also have another 24-port TrendNet patch panel going into a Netgear switch. We have a Dell EMC server and also a QNAP NAS, and then we have a Trip Light UPS. A couple things I would do here, I just put a piece of Velcro around the DAC cables, and then at the bottom where my power cables, I would also Velcro those up, but those aren't huge issues. I would also label the cables for my patch panel. Great job. And the last submission for this video is by Mando from my Discord. At the top, we have a UDM Pro, and we have a DAC cable connecting to the USW aggregation switch. It looks like a lot of people are using these switches, and I'm glad to see it. We have a 24-port patch panel, and then it looks again that we're using 6-inch slim Monoprice patch cables, but the boots on these really illuminate on the LEDs that are white, but this still looks great. And we're using a 48-port PoE switch. A couple rack units down, we have an RPS, and the one thing I would change right away is maybe this cable here, as it looks like it's stretching, or maybe move the RPS up. We have a UNVR, and then we have a few Raspberry Pis. So what I would change about this, I would label my patch panel and change out this patch cable. Other than that, it's a very clean install. I want to thank everybody for their submission. Without you submitting your pictures, I wouldn't be able to do these videos. Now, this is the hard part where I have to pick the winner of the G4 Bullet, and it was really difficult between two different people. But the winner for this one has to be Rastaman. I really like how the boots illuminate with that USW Enterprise switch, and it's a very, very clean install. Let me know which one you like the best down in the comments below. If you'd like to support my channel, there's a few ways you could do that. We have the memberships available where you could join, and we'll have different emotes for our live streams. We also have affiliate links. If you have any questions about this video, please leave it in the comments below. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. If you're new here, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. All right, thanks.